card. Offer some reflections if you have any. 21, conscience. Mary Magdalene and the priceless perfume. The society goes on telling you this is right and that is wrong. That is conscience. It becomes ingrained, implanted in you. You go on repeating, that is worthless, that is not the real thing. The real thing is your consciousness. It carries no ready-made answers, but what is wrong and what is right. No. But immediately, in whatever situation arises, it gives you light. You know immediately what to do. Jesus went to visit the home of Mary Magdalene. Mary was deeply in love. She poured very precious perfume on his feet, the whole bottle. It was rare perfume. It could have been sold. Judas immediately objected. He said, "You should prohibit people from doing such nonsense. The whole thing is wasted. And there are people who are poor and who don't have anything to eat. We could have distributed the money to the poor people." What did Jesus say? He said, "You don't be worried about it. The poor and the hungry will always be here, but I will be gone. You can serve them always and always. There is no hurry, but I will be gone." Look at the love, not at the precious perfume. Look at Mary's love, her heart. With whom will you agree? Jesus seems to be very bourgeois, and Judas seems to be perfectly economical. Judas is talking about the poor, and Jesus simply says, "I'll be gone soon, so let her heart do whatsoever she wants, and don't bring your philosophy in." Ordinarily, your mind will agree with Judas. He seems to be perfectly right. He was a very cultured, polished man of manners, sophisticated, a thinker, and he betrayed. He sold Jesus for 30 silver pieces. And when Jesus was crucified, he started feeling guilty. That's how a good man functions. He started feeling very guilty. His conscience started pricking him. He committed suicide. He was a good man. He had a conscience, but he had no consciousness. This distinction has to be felt deeply. Conscience is borrowed, given by the society. Consciousness is your attainment. The society teaches you what is right and what is wrong. Do this and don't do that. It gives you the morality, the code, the rules of the game. That is your conscience. Outside, the constable; inside, the conscience. That is how the society controls you. Judas had a conscience, but Jesus had consciousness. Jesus was more concerned with the love of the woman, Mary Magdalene. It was such a deep thing to prevent her would be wounding her love. She would shrink within herself. Pouring the perfume on Jesus' feet was just a gesture. Behind it, she was saying, "This is all that I have, the most precious thing I have. To pour water won't be enough. It is too cheap. I would like to pour my heart. I would like to pour my whole being." But Judas was a man of conscience. He looked at the perfume and he said, "It is costly." He was completely blind to the woman and her heart. The material is the perfume. The immaterial is the love. But the immaterial Judas could not see. For that, you need eyes of consciousness. Okay, that's it. Any reflection on that card?
How are you, Shianti, since you drew it?
My reflection would be like, that I feel like everybody acts on the conscious and not the consciousness. But then they think like, everyone thinks that this is right, this is wrong, and there is no right and wrong. Like, there is no way that you have to follow or that you should follow, and everyone says it, but they don't always follow it, you know? And I feel like it's very difficult to act on the consciousness when you always act on the conscious, because everyone has this belief of what they think is right or wrong, but then, and this is just from my personal experience, but they always go back on what is right, what is wrong. Like, all the time in my job, they'll say, "This is the way corporate does it, this is the way corporate does it," but then they'll turn around and do something that is not the way of the way it should be. So like, and that's just in life, period. Like, people do that all the time, but instead acting on the consciousness and what you believe is right in the moment, not based on the, like, not thinking like with the philosophy, like, this is right because of this, or this is wrong because of this, but what is right in the moment? Like, what do you feel should be done at that moment? Like, when it says that she gave the thing that was most valuable to Jesus because that's what she had to express her love, not thinking about, oh, we have all these poor people around and I should give to them, but in the reality, in the moment, this is how I feel. This is what I believe is the right thing to do in the moment because this is how I feel, not because of some philosophy or like the reality of things the way they should be, because things should be the way you feel like they should be at the moment. So.
Amen. Can I say something?
Yeah.
To me, I took from that, Mary Magdalene was a hooker, yes? She was a hooker.
Mhm.
Now, Judas was this learned man. The only thing she had, what did prostitutes have? They have perfume, maybe. That's all she had. So, to Judas, I don't know. She did it from her heart. She gave with what she had. It's what she felt at the moment. That's really good what you said, Aaron. Doesn't matter what the conscience should be or what what the world says it is. It's how you feel at that moment.
You're really saying it's like perception is key with that, because I really feel both points. Like I don't see like any wrong really in what both of them were saying, Jesus or Judas. Which it's like, yeah, he's absolutely right. You could have sold that, got some bread, and actually help people. Or like Jesus' perception is like, hey, like this is her expression of just love. Like I'm not gonna be here. She might not get another chance to do that. So they're not really wrong either or. It's just more so how you perceive it.
Yeah, it's like when one makes the other wrong, that's when it becomes an issue.
Right.
And I see the
Ooh.
conscious.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
When one makes the other one's wrong, that's when it's.
That's where I see it. That's when it's a problem.
I like that.
Because I see the way that is really interesting. I see like the conscious as the mind, and the consciousness as like the heart, the spirit. And those two have to work together. I think what happens is like with Judas, the mind takes control and starts to get logical and wants what it wants. And I find in my life experience that the mind tends to have more power over the consciousness. I could see Judas saying that to her, and then she's feeling bad about it. Like then she's questioning her own, where it was coming from.
He was shaming her.
Yeah. So it just, to me, it just kind of shows the power of the mind, the overpower of the mind, and how this gets misused by us. And we should be guided by our consciousness and use the mind more as a tool to support the consciousness versus vice versa. To support the conscious versus the conscious controlling the consciousness. That's a
Well
tongue
said.
twister. The conscious
Put a stamp on it. So they can always put a stamp on something to me. Boom.
It just got me to think about, like in modern days today, where it's like the perfume's expensive, she's poured on his feet, and then people are like, well, you're wasting money. And I think a lot of us, like in a way, we could be perceived as wasting money. I mean, we could always think in terms of, oh, I shouldn't have ate that extra meal today, I could have given it to the poor. Or maybe I shouldn't buy that nice shirt, I could give the money to the poor. Or maybe I shouldn't give my wife that wedding ring, because I could have gave that to the poor. I think we could always use that as an excuse to make people feel guilty for trying to express what they're feeling in their heart. She decided to pour the perfume on his feet. Other people decide to, get something nice for their kids or their family and give to kind of share something. So, I can see both sides, but I think even the person that was condemning her from doing that, I guarantee you in his own life, there's a lot of things that he was doing where he could have not done it or not whatever, and then gave the money to the poor.
Mm-hmm.
You could always use that excuse for everybody. Like, you could condemn a rich person that you think is rich that has a few $1 million and be like, well, you shouldn't have bought that car, you could have gave it to the poor, gave the money to the poor. But then if you look at your own life, you might not have millions, but you have some money, and you could have not bought those shoes and gave that money to the poor too. I mean, I think everybody could look at themselves and see that, hey, you know, like when you're judging somebody in that way, you can look at your own life and see that, you know, that you're not too different yourself. And it's just, you know, I could understand both, you know. And also I think that when it comes to the poor, sometimes it's good to not just give to them because it makes them dependent. Sometimes I think it's just good to kind of influence them to work hard so that they learn how to kind of take care of themselves, as opposed to just keep giving to them, they become dependent. There's a teaching in Tao where they say you'd rather just teach a person how to fish rather than just give them a fish. And that's a big teaching in the East, is to basically teach people to be self-sufficient so they're not dependent on you. So if you got money and you spend money and you know you got nice things, it could inspire poor people to be like, hey, I want nice things too. And then be like, how'd you get that? Well, I worked hard for it. You work hard too and you get it too. And then that can inspire them to work hard and get their own nice things too, rather than just like keep giving to them and things like that. So, but that's what it got me to think about that.
Leave that card top for that way, would you please?
Huh?
Leave that first card out for a minute.
The first card?
No, never mind. I saw it. That card's been drawn like 3 times, by the way.
The
first
worry
card
one?
that fell out, yeah.
Yeah.
That was the card that I drew when I came to my first meditation class, so it's kind of weird. It keeps popping up.
Every time you're here, the card's
Man,